And one of the big ideas in Kabbalah and Chassidus is the notion of Seder Hishtalshelus. Seder Hishtalshelus literally means an order of Hishtalshelus means cause and effect of a chain.
Chronological?
I don't know if chronological, but Hishtalshelus, a chain reaction. And this is referring to the many worlds, that the spiritual worlds that exist. And this is something which is a chiddush of Chassidus and Kabbalah. It's a chiddush of Kabbalah, which is elaborated and explained and elucidated in Chassidus. And it raises the obvious question of why. If we're going to accept the notion that the reason why Hashem created this world, and the reason why Hashem created everything, is because Hashem wanted a dir b'tachteinim. He wanted to have a dwelling place over here in this world. So what is the purpose of creating the infinite amount of worlds that stretch along the spiritual expanse until finally we arrive at this world, the lowest of the low? Why didn't Hashem just create our world? If the purpose is our world, purpose is not everything that's in the higher worlds and not in the higher worlds, then why did Hashem create them in the first place? We know the whole idea is creation is what we call Bria Yesh Mi'ayin. His creation is something from nothing. Hashem could have created this world from nothing, and we would have been fine. What would we have been missing if there wouldn't be the worlds of Atzilus and Bria, Yetzira, and the spiritual world of Asiya? And which way would be, who would be losing sleep at night if these worlds didn't exist? So it's explained in many places that these worlds, as we know, they're not places. It's not shot that we have a world over here, and somewhere in outer space, a few million light years away from here, you have one spiritual world, and if you go even higher, you have another spiritual world. We're talking here, the key word over here is spiritual worlds. That means they don't occupy any space. They don't occupy space, they don't occupy time. They're spiritual entities. Which means that what Hashem really did is that He created an infinite amount of spiritual levels. Every world is a spiritual level. And although there's an infinite amount of spiritual levels, more or less, generally speaking, they're divided into four. The four spiritual levels, which is, in this week's Parsha, when Yaakov sees the Sulam, the ladder, and the Zohar talks about the fact that this ladder has four rungs to it. Four shlivos, four rungs. And these represent the four primary worlds. Again, every one of these worlds is subdivided into many other worlds, but four primary worlds of Atzilus, Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, and each one of them represents a different spiritual state, one higher than the other. And why did Hashem create these worlds? Because He wants us to bring these worlds over here. In other words, if only this world, in other words, this level, the spiritual state which is natural and native to this world, if that's all that existed, then we'd be stuck here. Because there isn't any higher spiritual estates to aspire to. They weren't created. So therefore what Hashem did is He created multiple levels of spiritual states, of spiritual realities, and we are supposed to be climbing that ladder. And while we're living here in this world, the world of Yetzirah, the world of Atziyah, the world of Atzilus, there's a possibility, as we shall see, to experience that over here. And that is the whole point, is to actually infuse this world with a higher spiritual state, the spiritual state which exists in higher worlds. So Hashem had to create those states in order for us to be able to bring them here into the world. Now, the natural state of this world is it's the lowest possible spiritual state, but through our avodah we can ascend this ladder and thereby make a dir b'tachtoinim, and therefore bring light and bring spirituality and holiness in this world. What level of holiness can we bring to the world? So there are all these different worlds, each one representing a different level of holiness, a different level of closeness to Hashem, and through our avodah, our job is to infuse this world with the light which exists in the various worlds of Seder Hishtalshelus.